everyone, this is Preaparing. Welcome to 2545 Business Consulting, where we give you accounting and financial management trainings and advice to help you grow your business. I'm here with Mr. Ayok. You're welcome, Mr. Ayok.
Thank you, Rebecca.
In the last 3 videos, we've looked at the relevance of accounting in the economy, where we later on moved to making an investment decision, and then we looked at preparing a business plan. So today we're going to be looking at what's next after deciding on that big idea, preparing that business plan, and seeing that the idea is actually feasible. It's going to be profitable. What do you do next? This is a mistake that a lot of people often make. They say we're going to set up an accounting system when the business is already, or rather when the business is already grown. But we are here to tell you today that you set up your accounting system at the beginning of the business, so it grows. It actually helps you track to see if you're actually growing. In today's video, we're going to be talking about setting up an accounting system for a small business in Cameroon. Today we're going to look at the definition of accounting. We'll move on to the accounting regulation in Cameroon, and then the accounting process. Finally, we're going to set up an accounting system for a small business in Cameroon. So if you have that small business, stay with us to the end, where we're going to assist you set up a system for your business. Mr. Yu, can you please remind our viewers of what accounting is?
Thank you very much, Rebecca, for that question. Accounting is the language of business. It is basically the language that you need if you are an entrepreneur or a small business owner. Accounting is also, by our consideration, the veins through the blood, that is the transaction of the business flows. And I consider accounting like a midfield, right? In a football team, everything has to go through the midfield. They support the defense and the attack. So accounting supports every aspect of your business. By extension, accounting is a business support function. So the typical definition of accounting, like we saw in one of our earlier videos, is that accounting is the recording, analyzing, and summarizing of your business transactions to provide relevant information to the end users for them to make an informed decision. Now, accounting is different from bookkeeping. Bookkeeping builds up to support accounting. It is basically recording all the transactions of your business in the books of prime entry. What we call that books of prime entry are the first books like the cash book, sales day book, purchase book, etc. So with this in mind, I think you now have a small overview of what accounting entails as it goes about supporting your business.
In a previous video, we looked at the importance of accounting to a business. Check the link in the description box to watch the full video. Next, we're going to talk about accounting regulation in Cameroon. Mr. Ayok, please can you throw more light on the accounting regulations in Cameroon?
Certainly, Rebecca. The accounting profession is regulated by OHADA in Cameroon. OHADA stands for, it's French, for Organisation pour la Harmonisation en Afrique du droit des affaires. In English, it's Organization for the Harmonization of Business Law in Africa. This OHADA was promulgated in 1993 in Mauritius, and it was ratified in 2008 in Canada. Cameroon is one of 17 member states that are part of the OHADA body. So if you could see OHADA as the International Financial Reporting Standards for Europe or the GAP for the US. The mission of OHADA is to harmonize business law across Africa. Basically what that means is that it's ensuring that there's a uniform measure for businesses across the continent, because what happened before was each nation had their own governing bodies that had their own business regulations that did not specifically match that of other businesses. So investors, let's say an investor operating in Cameroon and has a business in Chad and Congo, will have to go through 3 different regulatory bodies. This is why the OHADA came together to ensure that the investor needs are protected and they can easily move within the business environment in Africa. Also, OHADA ensures that every business has an accounting system, from the small business to the very big business, and they have put in place various levels of reporting requirements for each type of business, small, medium, and large size. We're going to go ahead and look at setting up an accounting system as per OHADA for a small business. Also, we are going to look at the aspect of accountants, because they are very vital in our economy. You cannot have an accounting system without having a proper accountant. And the accounting body in Cameroon is regulated by ONECCA, that is the Chartered Institute of Accountants in Cameroon. To become a certified accountant or a public accountant in Cameroon, you must be a member of ONECCA, as it regulates the accounting body in Cameroon. 2545 Business Consulting is putting together an OHADA training course that is practical and it will be hands-on for graduates of accounting. This is going to let them have a feel of how it's being done practically. Also, for entry-level employees that are still getting their feet wet in the field, it will be very relevant for you to know how to prepare your accounts as per OHADA. We're going to go through the details from the books of prime entry right through to the trial balance, and also preparing financial statements using OHADA accounting.
Like Mr. Yo said, we have an upcoming free OHADA training, so we advise that you stay tuned to our YouTube channel and our other social media handles to get more information as to the date and the cities in which it's going to hold. We're going to move straight away to the accounting process. It's good that you have an overview of the accounting process before we actually narrow it down to accounting for small businesses. Mr. York is going to walk us through that process.
So, before we go into the details of an accounting process and how transactions flow through the business, or how transactions are recorded, or the flow of transactions are recorded through the business, we want to look at the various types of accounts that make up the business. We have the assets, the liabilities, capital, expenses, and revenue. And the accounting equation has assets is equal to capital plus liabilities. Now you might be asking, where are the expenses and the revenue? Well, we could say they're part of equity because expenses reduce the amount of funds that goes to the shareholders, and revenue increase the amount of funds that goes to the shareholders. And we're going to go through now and look at the various flows of transactions through the business. First, when a transaction occurs, we have to analyze and understand how to record this transaction. Once we know through a simple process called double entry, where we debit and credit, is basically making sure that there is a balance in the accounting equation, that is the asset should always equal the liabilities plus the capital. So we understand this process and then we record it in this accounting system. Once this is being recorded in the various books of prime entry, like we earlier mentioned, cash book, sales book, purchase book, inventory book, whatever the book we have, there are like 7 of them, we go ahead to now look at the ledgers, because these transactions now accumulate and flow to the ledgers and the general ledger. Basically, the ledger, if you look at it from a normal ledger text, so basically we are saying that all these books form the ledger, which is the analysis of all the transactions that has been recorded in various categories. So we have the receivables or the creditors, we have the payables or the debtors, as the case may be. And then it moves further now to your trial balance. The trial balance basically records total debits and total credits, and they have to balance. Like we say, it's basically saying that all of my assets should equal all of my capital plus liabilities. That's what we're saying. Minus any expenses plus any revenue. So your trial balance should have that. If there is any discrepancy with your trial balance, what you go ahead and do is make some adjusting entries, and then you now have an adjusted trial balance. And this is now the basis for which you prepare your financial statements, because your financial statements have to be, to the greater extent, error-free. It should be reasonably error-free, because you'll be audited on those financial statements. This is the process for a typical medium-sized business. In Cameroon, using the OHADA provisions, we say businesses that make 50 million and over. Also, if you are a small business that makes, say, 30 million to 50 million, you could decide to do this process. So for those businesses that are in this range and above, can go through this process of accounting and go through these transaction flows. Now you might be asking, I'm not an accountant, why are you telling me this? Well, as a business owner, we want you to appreciate the work and the accounting flows too. That way you can also pick up your accounts in your business and look at what your accountant is doing if you have one, and say, okay, at least I have some understanding of what is happening here.
Thank you, Mr. Yo, for walking us through the accounting process. Next, we're going to look at setting up an accounting system for a small business. Mr. Yo is going to walk us through that process.
We'll be looking at creating a simple accounting system for a small business in Cameroon, and this is for small businesses that fall under the category of the minimum cash system as per OHADA and make revenue of less than 30 million francs, and they need to just keep general ledgers that has to do with purchase and sales day book and the cash book, and then create a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet statement. It is not required that you keep the full proper books in the other systems for medium-sized and big-sized businesses like we will see in the future. Now we'll go ahead and look at this separately in detail. Like we said, the documents that need to be kept are the general ledger, profit and loss account, and the balance sheet, and a table of variation. So the cash book or the cash encouragement book looks like this. You need a date, description, what came in and what went out, transfer of funds, and the capital. This kind of templates you could request from us via email, and we can send it to you if you are a small business owner and you want to create templates like this. A profit and loss account for the minimum cash system looks at like this. Just basically your expenditure and your revenue, what came in and what goes out. It's very simple and not so difficult to apply. And your balance sheet just has to do with your assets and your liabilities that you have for the year. The next, we are going to be looking at the table of variation, which has the net assets at the beginning of the period and the net assets at the end of the period to give you any changes in assets. So the origin is a net contribution, net withdrawal, and net profit and loss account. This will give you a table of variation. In case of building a material shop, for example, the general ledger will need to have a sales day book, a purchase day book, a summary day book, and you need to put in controls to manage these day books. This will automatically go to build your financial statements that is needed by the OHADA accounting system. The general ledger, these are required by OHADA and to be maintained and record movements in cash. So basically it is the cash book of the business. It shows all your cash inflows and your cash outflows. The sales day book, yes, a summary where you have date, item, receipt number, quantity, unit price, cash sales, credit sales, and then your total sales. This is very important because it tracks the sales for the day, and it divides it into the cash and the credit sales, and then goes ahead to give you your total sales. It can also serve as a reference point for you in the future. The purchase day book has the same some of the same aspects, date and the item description, but then you have other additional items like the receipt number, the quantity, unit price purchased, purchases on cash and purchases on credit to go ahead and give you your total purchases. A summary day book is going to be a summary of all the day books that you have, the sales and the purchase day book. So you have your date and a description, opening stock, receipts, sales quantity, closing stock. This is a theoretical, physical count in order to reconcile with your theoretical closing stock, and where you're looking at the difference between the two. The sales value, cash sales, and the credit sales, and we give you the total day summary for that day. This is very important for your small business because you start recording and monitoring your transactions as they occur, and you have a summary, you have the detailed breakdown. It's easy to make informed decisions based on this. Controls are often ignored by small businesses, but it is very vital in every business. You can put in small inexpensive controls that are very relevant, as the cost benefit advantage is huge to the business. So you have the inventory control, which is a comparison between your theoretical stock and what is actually in store. That's the physical stock. And the cash control, you compare theoretical cash to what is physically on hand. When we talk about theoretical, we are basically talking about cash that is actually in the system as per the start and the end of the day, and compared with what it should be. So what is in the system should match with what is on hand in terms of cash and inventory if everything was done appropriately. Thank you very much for staying with us until the end. Isabella, will you take over from here?
Thank you so much for staying with us right up to the end of this episode. We believe this video has been helpful and you're now in a better position to set up an accounting system for that business. Please like and share this video. Drop a comment for us if you have any questions and we'll be sure to get back to you. See you in our next video.